Hello, everybody. Welcome to our final pay-per-view review of 2022. We're reviewing Ring of Honor Final Battle 2022. I am one of your hosts, Daniel, joined by my other two hosts.
It's Berman.
Chris again.
NXT Deadline also happened on the same evening, but we're going to review that in a separate video, and that doesn't really count as a pay-per-view. That's a premium live event, as WWE likes to call them. So yeah, I guess this is the last true pay-per-view of the year. Overall, I thought it was a great pay-per-view, probably one of the best pay-per-views of the entire year. What did you two think about it before we dive into each match?
It was great to me. I think it was way better than definitely NXT and a lot of other pay-per-views recently, except maybe War Games, I feel like. But still, this one definitely is up there as one of the best pay-per-views of the year.
And yeah, it's a pretty high contender, surprisingly, for such like a Ring of Honor show. It's such of itself. It's done against toe to toe with AEW and WWE, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was really strong. And Ring of Honor is an important company too, so I'm glad it looks like it's going to have a chance of staying on its own once the TV deal happens. And a lot of people complain about the Honor Club announcement where it'll be $9.99 a month to pay for a membership called Honor Club, where Ring of Honor will drop the weekly TV episodes, but it's actually only temporary until they find a permanent weekly deal. And honestly, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with them doing like a WWE Network thing. I think that's really awesome. I wish almost every company would do that, if I'm being quite honest. I would love for AEW to do that, just have a network for $9.99 that has like every Dynamite and Rampage episode and pay-per-view. That would be sweet. But
They probably
yeah,
want to get out of the shadow. They probably want to get out of the shadow of Bleach Report.
yeah, possibly. But I thought it was a really, really damn great show. Now let's dive in. First off, we have the opener. Unfortunately, the weakest match of the night. Blake Christian and AR Fox versus ROH and Delistico. I think I pronounced it wrong, but it's all good. So, it was actually good action throughout the match. But the reason why I had to lower the rating is because the ending is really bad. It's a botched pin. You have, basically AR Fox pinning, one of the other guys on the other team, and they kick out at 2, but the referee counts 3, and the match ends there. And the crowd is just confused, and they're angry, and that's not the show at all. So it had some good action, but it just got interrupted by that bullshit ending, and the brawl afterwards was just whack. I just didn't care. Lame. It could have been a 6 or a 7 because of the ending. I'm giving it a 5.
Yeah, it was weird. I do wrong. I do love. It was a pretty good match. The match was fairly great. It has a good amount of stuff, but the ending just made it so weird, and I just didn't like how they did it. So I still like it, so I'm probably still give it a 5.5.
Yeah, and for the credit, even though it had a sloppy ending, it was the first time me being exposed to Blake Christian and AR Fox, because previously to this, I had no idea who they are. But the wrestling style is phenomenal. But like we said before, the ending was very messy. It wasn't really based off anything. It was kind of confusing too, because like it showed off like Roosh and his partner. I'm not even gonna bother pronouncing it. Just them attacking him and choking them out, and I'm like, it's cool and all, but you could have done this a little better. So I'm just gonna give it a 5 for what it is.
Like, if you wanted those guys to look strong, just have them win the match. Don't have them lose in some controversial way and then do this little post-match assault. It's kind of stupid. Like, make up your damn minds on what team you're trying to make look strong here. You get what I'm saying?
Oh,
Definitely.
and one last thing before we continue. Where the hell is
Let's,
Andrade? He's part of this faction.
we know where he is.
Where is
We
he?
know. You remember that Sammy Andrade drama?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's still in trouble for it.
Oh. He's just playing a heel.
Well, we don't know that entirely. Now, let's move on to the Ring of Honor Women's Championship match. Mercedes Martinez defending against Athena. Decent match, nothing too spectacular, but it wasn't bad at all. Pretty decent. Athena got the win. thanks to the Eclipse finisher that she has, which is an amazing finisher, might I add. I don't really like the stunner that much, but I really like the Eclipse because of the, twisting movement that is going on with her opponent. It's basically kind of snapping that neck the way, she does the Eclipse. But whenever it's just the actual stunner, you just have, the guy performing the stunner really just land on his tailbone. And the other guy, what is that really doing to the other guy? Like, logically, if we're thinking about the stunner, sure, it's a cool looking move for effect, but it just is questionable when you really think about the logic behind it. So I love the Eclipse. But anyways, that conversation can be made for another day. I am really happy Athena got the win. She is the new Ring of Honor Women's Champion. And if she's going to start the TV shows as the Women's Champion, Tony Khan made the right choice, brother. That's all I could say. Overall, 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, this was pretty good. I liked it. And the finisher right now is not even called the Eclipse. It's called the O face, which I have no idea why they call it that. But it's a weird name. I don't like it, but I think they should just start calling the Eclipse. But the thing is that why it got me a little bit confused is that yes, it's Athena's hometown, but like Athena is supposed to be the heel in this situation, and Martinez was supposed to be the face, but everyone was just booing Mercedes Martinez. It just felt really off, and it just weird to me. It kind of made no sense. Like I know it's hometown advantage, but still, it kind of
Yeah.
was just weird that like she was pretty much like a face the whole entire time, not even a heel. No one, it was like no one even counted her as a heel. It was kind of
Well,
weird to me.
here, I'll actually kind of defend the match for this real quick. Sorry to interrupt. But the thing is like, think about Bret Hart, right? That's a good example. And you know how he would go into his home and he was in Canada, he was a face. But everywhere else he went, he was a bad guy. And, I guess, and like CM Punk, for example, whenever he was a heel, he was still a face in Chicago. Or his recent run in AEW, he was a face, but every time he came over to, Adam Page's home state, he didn't like it. Or no, it was not Adam Page, it was MJF's home state. It was New York. So, you can have those little elements and characters, and them liking and disliking certain places kind of makes them stand out more. And I actually liked how Athena and Mercedes were, they didn't ignore the crowd. Because let's say this, the crowd were booing Mercedes and cheering for Athena. I think it would have been more weird if Mercedes decided to pretend like she was still the face despite getting booed by the entire arena, and have Athena pretend like she's the heel despite being in front of her family and friends. That's just how I personally see it.
Well, I don't hate it. It's just a little off to me, but I don't hate anything about the match. I think it was fun. I think I loved how they incorporated a lot of the cheap way of Athena's way. I think it was fun. I probably definitely give it a 6.5 for me, and I'm happy that Athena definitely won. She deserves a title. Not, and I suck that she didn't get the TBS, but at least Athena gets a championship at least.
Agreed. She did deserve that TBS title, and she should have beaten Jade. But hey, you know what? This is great too.
It was, dude, and honestly, maybe one day she'll get the TBS title, but for the match, it was solid. It wasn't very slow at the beginning, but it picked up usually how it goes, and it wasn't the greatest match in the world, but it was good for storytelling's sake. I mean, it introduced Athena's new character, and her new entrance was also a banger, and overall the match was solid. I can't give it too much of criticism, so I'm just gonna give it a 6 out of 10, above
And
average.
honest, and honestly, I'd prefer Athena holding the ROH Women's title the more I think about it, because logically, think about it like this: what title has the more important history behind it, the ROH Women's belt or the TBS belt?
Or ROH, 100%.
ROH.
Exactly. That has the more historic lineage and lineup. And as for the TBS title, there's only been one champion, and 90% of the title matches have been against jobbers or low tier mid carders. That title is practically near damn worthless. So, if anything, I'm glad Athena has a title that's worth bragging about.
Yeah, I think that's completely agreeable.
Fuck the TBS title at this point. Retire that belt. I don't care who holds it anymore. That belt is worthless to me.
But what if
That's all I
Bow
can
Wow
say.
beats Jade? That's gonna be awesome.
For I don't even know what to say on that. Well, let's move on. Swerve in Our Glory versus Shane Taylor Promotions. Shane Taylor and J.D. Griffey. Yeah, this match was awesome. Keith Lee and Shane Taylor had a history together, and that was, rekindled throughout this match. You have the drama involving Swerve and Keith Lee that really elevated this match as well. This match was fast paced, incredible action as well. JD Griffey looked impressive, showed Shane Taylor, but of course, the show stealer was Keith Lee himself, who beat Shane Taylor Promotions by himself because Swerve walked out on Keith Lee. So, yeah, amazing. Once again, way to make Keith Lee look like a beast. And you really got this rivalry between Keith Lee and Swerve started. I thought it started at Full Gear when Lee left Swerve, but I guess that wasn't the true start of it. I guess it's really evolving now. Either way, I'm enjoying what we're getting. So overall, 9 out of 10. Amazing match.
Yeah, me too. I love the match. I love how they introduced them in themselves, and like the you see it, what's it called, Swerve not giving Keith Lee a fist bump. Like it starts like twisting, saying, "Oh, hey, we don't like each other right now. We're not happy with each other." So even if the match was great, they did a great job on like every type of thing. Shane Taylor, every move was great to see him doing stuff, and it was funny. Like all the, I always love the contrast where Keith Lee is the face and Swerve is the heel. I kind of love the type of tag teams, and always love it. And this match was great, definitely up there, and definitely a 9 for me.
And honestly, oh, sorry, my bad. Real quick, it's gonna be 9. But the one thing I loved it, even though that his partner Keith Lee Swerve ran off the stage or whatever after Keith Lee accidentally bumped into him, the man still clutched it, dude. He literally beat two dudes at once and won the victory even without his partner. And not only that, that Shane Taylor, that's the skinnier UFC guy, right? Just make
No, that'd
sure.
be JD.
JD Griffey, there we go. His overall MMA style looked brutal as shit. I mean, for the most part, he was kicking Swerve's ass pretty hard in like the first 10 minutes, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. We need more of these guys in AEW, but if this is more of a weekly thing, I want to see more of them because this was insane. This is going to get a 9 out of 10. It was
All right,
awesome.
next match. Ring of Honor, 6-man tag team championship match. Dalton Castle and the Boys versus Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony. I thought it was really good. I'm usually not a big fan of the, Dalton Castle and the Boys, the gimmicky kind of matches that they have, but this was actually really good. And no shock, Brian Cage was on the other team, but all these guys kind of got the, get their moments in here and there. It was a pretty good match. It wasn't anything too crazy, but I really had a fun time watching this match. Overall, 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, this match was fun. I love the Dalton boys. To me, it's just funny. I always love how funny they are and stuff. But it was kind of obvious to say like, oh yeah, NBC is 100% going to win. It's not like a no chance because how they are so big. They're bigger than them, and they just look more dominant. So to me, it was just funny. I just love the point, and I always love when Hunt Castle says, "Bring me the boys," and just start tossing the boys everywhere. It just kind of funny to me. But definitely, I mean, it's not the biggest match of the night, but definitely up to me a 7 for me.
And yeah, initially I thought this match was going to suck. I mean, me and Daniel, when we saw it live, I'm just like, oh God, this is going to be the bathroom break. And initially, for the first 5 minutes of the match, it was kind of like whatever. But surprisingly, Dalton Castle and the boys were kicking ass throughout the match, and it was a sleeper here, definitely. I mean, was it anything great? No, but it was a good time filler, and then for what it was, we got new champions too. But that's no surprise, so I'm just gonna give it a 6. It was solid, but nothing too crazy.
All right. Now we move on to the Ring of Honor Pure Championship match. Daniel Garcia versus Wheeler Yuta. They fought at the last pay-per-view for the Pure Championship. They have fought multiple times this year over this Pure Championship. But if I'm being quite honest, I think this was their best encounter so far. This was an amazing match, and you could just, really feel the intensity from this match because of the brewing rivalry from these two young up-and-comers over the past 6 months or so. They both have really improved over time, especially throughout this year. And, me and Chris were even talking about it. It's crazy how, Willer Yuta used to just be like this background player for the best friends. And now he's, a pivotal part in the biggest act in all of AEW, the Blackpool Combat Club. It's really a fascinating thing. And in this match, he became a 2-time pure champion. And it felt just as fresh this time as it did the first time. And I love it. So, yeah, there's not really much to complain about in this match. Overall, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I was hyped for this match because I actually love Daniel Garcia and and I just love how genius of a genius Daniel Garcia is in that match too. That he pretty much forces really Yuta to use all of his rope breaks by just using the ropes himself, and it's amazing. I love how they did it, and it just shows that Daniel Garcia can be a real world champion or a singles champion very soon if he wanted to. Like he's good and I just love how technical it was, and just one of my favorite matches with how and pure, and he was the first ever two-time, first ever two-time pure champion. So it's really good for him. And you can see at the match I like that too. Not like a super big thing, but like Danny Garcia shows a little respect to really Lita, saying, "Hey, saying, hey, good job, you earned it." Just gave him the title. So it's gonna show maybe Danny Garcia is trying to grow. Maybe he thinks about going to the Blackpool Combat Club again. I'm hoping maybe he changes his mind again. I would like that to see him again. Definitely for me, 9 for me.
And again, we have another 9. And one thing I like to add too, that surprisingly Daniel Garcia made Willa Yuta lose all of his is it called points, or it's like what's it
Rope
called?
break.
Rope breaks, like all 3 in the matter of like 8 minutes, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, Daniel Garcia, calm the fuck down. But the match, it was excellent. Especially towards the ending where Willa Yuta looked like he was about to lose, but he just comes in clutch again and takes the belts. And one last thing is that Booker T is a fucking idiot because like recently he said that Wheeler Yuta wasn't going to be a champion or a main player because of his fucking name, and that's stupid. That is a stupid take.
I mean, I'm going to have to look that up. Damn.
Dude, look it up, dude. He posted that shit on Twitter, and I was like, that's dumb. But anyways, the match itself, it's a 9. It's classic.
We'll talk about Booker T in the NXT review because he was probably one of the main highlights of NXT on Saturday, if I'm being quite honest with you, Chris. His commentary was probably one of the 3 biggest things about the entire show.
Dang it, I still didn't watch it. Let's go.
Well, it's a good
All
thing.
right. Now we move on to the match of the night. As if there weren't already other amazing matches, this is the one that takes the icing on the cake, though. Double dog collar match for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. FTR versus Briscoes. This is their 3rd encounter this year. FTR were 2-0 going into this match with the Briscoes. But it seems like all is starting to fall down for FTR. What do I mean? Well, it was either Cash or Dax Harwood. One of the two, Cash Wheeler or Dax Harwood. I can't remember which one of the two. They clarified that their contracts with AEW expire in April. And why is that so important now? Because think about it like this. They fighting the Acclaimed on Wednesday on Dynamite. Then they lost the ROH championships, to the Briscoes on this night. So think about it. Everyone was thinking all gold FTR. I was thinking of all gold FTR. But from what it seems, FTR are indeed planning of going back to WWE. They will also be defending their IWGP Heavyweight Championships at Wrestle Kingdom 17. It could be against Aussie Open, or it could be against a completely different team. We're going to have to wait and find out on that one. So, this is what I gotta say about this match, though. Besides FTR clearly being on their way out, this was a fantastic and brutal match. It's just you have crazy near falls, just a lot of blood. That's something that can definitely be said. A lot of blood. And yeah, I guess the Briscoes are, good now in terms of, not being a name that damages the possibility of Ring of Honor getting the TV deal. It seems like Tony Khan is moving on past, their past, I guess you could say, and they're putting the belts on the lads. So yeah, I hope it all goes well for the Briscoes in this title reign, and I hope they have a good working relationship in this new Ring of Honor under Tony Khan's leadership. So I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, this one definitely 100% one of my all-time favorite matches. Oh, like tag team matches right now. It was amazing. As soon as I heard it was a double dog collar match, I was happy because the last dog collar match was the what's it called MJF and CM Punk, and it was amazing. And now this one pops off, and it was amazing. Every way they could use the chain was great. There was some like weird moments with I think the funny part was where I think it was yeah, Dash, I think it was Dash Harwood, I think he was trying to wrap the chains around his head. It was always failing. It was just kind of funny because
Oh
he
yeah,
tried
it was
trying to
it
wrap
was.
it, but he eventually did a version of it. So it was funny, but it was a great match, even though how they just ended it with the chains and everything. I think it was 100% one of the best matches, and the commentators were very funny. He was trying to talk about in the freaking what's it called? Someone pulled down one of the Briscoes off the top rope into chairs on a floor. That was so much more brutal than I thought. 100% 9.5 out. A great match.
Dude, I think this is going to be something that Mick Foley would be proud of. Something he would do in his prime day because literally this match is perfection. And I think one of the funniest things, I'm pretty sure it was Cash Wheeler, but like at one point during the match, he's like grabbing all these fucking chairs and just like throw them in the middle of the ring, and then you can hear him like verbally cuss, is like, "Kill this motherfucker right now!" And then the announcer too was like, "Oh, you can't say that," but it was really funny. And then also too, Dax Harwood loses a tooth in this match, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ! And not only that, he takes like I think it was like a super kick like to the face, and then his forehead gets busted wide open, and it was just overall just insanely brutal. Daniel, you weren't too happy about FTR losing.
I was not, yeah, because I only just found out about like the contract stuff, like last week, and I didn't think anything of it because I was like, oh, they might renew the contracts, but it's really not looking like that's going to be the case.
No,
So it's a bit unfortunate, it is.
so
And
so
I don't know, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not nearly as much of a Briscoes fan as I am an FTR fan. I'm going to be honest with my audience there on that one. I really don't care that much for the Briscoes in comparison to FTR. I like the Briscoes. They're a very good tag team, but they're just not FTR for me. They're just not.
they're just the boys, bro. Them boys. And then let's be honest here. I think the Briscoes were definitely going to win this. This is their type of match. They're built for this sort of thing. Not to discredit FTR, but it was amazing.
Oh yeah, commentary even called out like even before the match started, like this is the Briscoes' advantage. Like they kind of warned us a little bit, and I just was not thinking about it that much.
Exactly.
It made sense.
It was overall great. But unfortunately, the next two matches don't really make up for it. And I already knew I'm like that thing's gonna outdo this, so I'm actually gonna give it a 10. I have no complaints here. It's perfect.
Okay, now we move on to the Ring of Honor TV Championship match: Samoa Joe versus Juice Robinson. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was amazing or anything, but I thought it was good. I'm gonna keep it short, sweet, and simple. Joe retains. Yeah, 7 out of 10. I'm not gonna really waste any time there. That's really all I can think of and say about this match.
Yeah, this match was. I was expecting a lot more, but it was not that bad in the retrospect. I think Robinson did a good job trying to do the best he can, but I felt like Samoa Joe's gonna win that title, even though. But I think it was fun to watch, even if so. 7.
Yeah, just 7. It was nice, decent, kind of obvious winner. So I'll give it a 7.
Main event time. A Ring of Honor Championship match. Chris Jericho versus Claudio Castagnoli. So this was a good main event. It was more of a slow burner match, not the best kind of slow burner match you can think of, but it was a slow burner match. It was good. I feel like they never really hit, that point where they're just going ape shit crazy until like maybe the last few minutes. But yeah, I feel like maybe if you just let the match go on 5 to 10 more minutes and they could have gone off a bit more, I feel like this would have been a better match. But it was still enjoyable. It was still good. Jericho tapping out into his Claudio swing. I'm going to call it the Claudio swing. It was really funny. And I thought that was a really funny way to end the match, and a really funny way for Cesaro to become a 2-time Ring of Honor champion. Cesaro, Claudio, Jesus Christ, you all know what I mean. Claudio is officially becoming a 2-time Ring of Honor champion. And that's great, considering he's only been around for 6 months in the entirety of the AEW Ring of Honor, state that we're currently in. So I think it's a great thing. So I'm really happy for Claudio getting that kind of moment. MJF, Claudio, Jamie Hayter, and Athena are the AEW and the Ring of Honor champions. They're at the top, and all 4 of them rightfully deserve to be champions right now. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Nice little way to end the show. I probably would have ended it with the dog collar match, but this is a good way to end the show with the Blackpool Combat Club ending the final battle against the Jericho Appreciation Society in victory. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, this match was fun to me. I was anticipated. I just love. Well, I think my favorite part to me was just the very beginning of the match where Chris Jericho just runs away from Claudio, but just runs towards the announcers, starts to try to attack them, and I just love that moment because he's just fuck this shit. I don't want to care. I don't care about the match. I just care about beating these announcers, but asses, and I just love that to me. It's just funny, and then just pretty much Cesaro Cesaro, nice Claudio. Uh, sorry, the he just punishes them so much, and I just love it. And he did do the neutralizer, which is a good thing that they did that. We had some kind of rants about that, but he didn't win by the Ricola bomb, which it was kind of funny to me. The first time I saw the ending, I was like, wait, I didn't see the tap, but I just love the swing. And after I went back, you see freaking Chris Jericho like just tapping his life, tapping for his life. You can just see him swinging all the hill. I just love that he tapped out by this is our swing. To me, that's pretty funny. This is our swing, Claudio swing. I think that's a great thing. I'm glad that Claudio wins. He's the Ring of Honor and Ring of Honor champion, and restores the honor to Ring of Honor. So good job, Claudio, and he should be a great champion for a long time. So, the match definitely a 7.5 for me.
Yep. Again, I'll give it a 7. It's not one of Chris Jericho's best matches, but it's definitely a best of his character overall. Like you said, Birmingham attacking the commentary guys was really funny. And then just throughout the whole match, the commentary team is just like still panicking and worried. It's like, oh god, he's gonna do it again. Like it was solid. And were were there any interruptions before this match, or am I tripping? Right? Or no, there wasn't there? I think
Uh,
What do you mean by interruptions?
like was it like Chris Jericho's like goons like part of like they were before this match for like a hot second.
Oh, yeah, they
I
were talking about how Claudio is going to be in a tag team with Jake Hager where they wear the purple
Oh
hats.
yeah, that thing too. That was funny. I'm just like, it's not gonna happen. But does this mean the end of the Chris Jericho Appreciation Society? Maybe
I don't think it
I can,
means that. I just think the Blackpool Comic Club and Jericho Appreciation Society feud is done.
for sure. And
yeah,
then,
I think that.
and then the match, it was solid 7. But one last thing I would like to add, like maybe in the future, since the Blackpool Combat is mostly established, if they are to take on a new organization, House of Black, and hopefully they actually win this time because it's their time. Because
House of
Cody
Black.
ruined
Here's
them.
here's what here's the thing though, right? I would love the House of Black to go after the Blackpool Combat Club, but do you know what other team I want the House of Black to go after?
Well,
The Elite for those trios titles.
yeah.
And I know the Elite aren't champions yet, but I expect them to win this best of 7 series.
I hope they don't.
I think they will.
We have to
I
nerf
think they
them.
will. You say we have to nerf them?
We have to nerf
here's
them.
the thing. I think the Elite are going to win the best of 7 series, and then Revolution. That's going to be the first pay-per-view in March, right? We do Elite versus House of Black, and I think House of Black beats them.
That'd be awesome.
I hope they go in that direction.
And
I
As
kinda
much
do.
as much as it would probably suck to see the Death Triangle lose, unless if we do Death Triangle versus House of Black for the trios titles and call it there.
That sounds good. That sounds a lot better to me. To me, I think that sounds a lot better of
To
an
be
idea.
fair, they had an amazing trios match at Double or Nothing. Seen that again. Shit.
you know, be also one last thing before we end the video.
What would that be?
What if Adam Cole's group comes back? I'm sure Bobby Fish isn't doing anything right now. What if his group comes back?
I don't know. The Bobby Fish kind of killed the hype of that group, man.
It's okay, man. He's in
What?
TNA.
Well, like I don't have a problem with him being in TNA. I just have a lot of problems with Bobby Fish out in general. But yeah, it's for another time. So, thank you all so much for watching. I would give this show an 8 out of 10. What would you guys give it?
8.5 for me.
8.5 as well.
So, I've been Daniel,
I've been Berman.
Chris.
and we'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy.